Hello everybody, Mike Welsch coming to you from the backstretch this morning at Churchill Downs with the Daily Racing Form Kentucky Derby Clock Report, brought to you by Spendthrift Farm, whose undefeated Kings Barns will be among the major contenders in this year's Kentucky Derby. Well, after the mayhem yesterday with all those workers in such a short period of time, it was a relatively quiet morning today at Churchill Downs, at least from a Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks standpoint. A very busy morning workout-wise to the general population, not only in the main track, but on the grass. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. I had 16 horses working about a 5 or 6 minute span over the beautiful turf course here at Churchill Downs. But when it came to the Derby action today, just one major bit of news to report, and that was Rocket Can got in his final work as promised. Blinkers on again. He worked in blinkers last week. He worked in blinkers today, and I'm sure he's going to run in blinkers on Kentucky Derby Day. He won 5/8 of a mile. He worked in company. He broke off several lengths behind his workmate. Actually came up inside his workmate, getting even at the quarter pole, and then drew off readily. I had him 5 furlongs at 59-4, 23-4 for the final quarter. Did it easily, although he did finish on his left lead, which I believe he did in his previous work as well. And then galloped out willingly, 13-2 for 6 furlongs, and pulled up 7/8 and 126-4. So the blinkers seem to have maybe made him focus a little bit more. I know Bill's been happy with what he's seen with him in the blinkers. So like I said, I'm sure he will be running in blinkers in the Derby. Might help move him up a little bit. Whether that's good enough to get him in that top 3, top 4 in the Derby in this very contentious 20-horse field remains to be seen. First sightings this morning of the Tim Yak Team Derby duo. Practical Move was about one of the first horses out on the racetrack this morning, while his mate Reincarnate came out during the 7:30, 7:45 Derby Oak session. Both of them just stretching their legs, getting their first look at Churchill Downs, both just jogging the wrong way before going back to the barn. I'm sure we'll see them out here galloping tomorrow. Other than that, with all the workers yesterday and still several Derby horses just either arriving or still to arrive, it was a very quiet morning as far as the Derby horses went. Disarmed Gallop continues to make a good impression, and I'm looking at him as maybe one of the long shots in this race. Mandarin Hero, who is still on the outside looking in, probably not going to draw into the field, but he galloped this morning. Dermot Sadagaki and his stablemate Controlar, not stablemate, but the other Japanese horse in the race at the moment, they did not train this morning. I was a little surprised to see that. I think they're still scheduled to work here on Tuesday. And then most of the horses, all of the horses that worked yesterday, didn't see any of them out today, the Todd Pletcher bunch or the Brad Cox Trio Confidence Game either. Among the fillies, I thought the Todd Pletcher pair of Gambling Girl and Julia Shining looked terrific this morning. Both galloping, one behind the other, had plenty of energy. Julia Shining is still on the outside looking in. I just talked to Todd a few minutes before shooting the video here, and he was kind of not happy about the fact that she's probably not going to get in, because she's doing terrific since he's been here at Churchill Downs. Darth Vader, the Gulfstream Park Invader, coming in for the race, has been training lights out down at Gulfstream Park. Saw her on the racetrack this morning for a routine gallop. Wonder Wheel went out early, the only horse in the Oaks field that I saw this morning under the lights, and she had a very relaxed gallop today. We've seen her get a little bit on the muscle during her gallops, but not this morning. She went nice and easy in a routine gallop today. So that's about it as far as the Derby Oaks news goes this morning. It was, like I said, a very, very busy day out on the main track today. Among the horses I got to see work was Clairiere for trainer Steve Asmussen, who seemed to have horses working every 20 minutes. Another 1, 2 or more were coming out for Steve. A busy morning for him. And I think we're going to see Disarm have his usual Steve Asmussen Monday blowout before the Derby tomorrow, which will probably be our only Derby worker tomorrow. Just a quick note of the turf works today, 16 of them, like I said. Among them, Santon, who is the defending champ in the Turf Classic. He breezed this morning, was 1 of 5 for trainer Brendan Walsh out there, and also Wadsworth for Brad Cox, who I believe is going to be one of the key contenders in the American Derby. So that was it for today. Now mostly routine gallops the rest of the week, a couple of more works, but plenty of news to report as we see some of these horses here gallop and get over the track for the first time. So just keep it right here, dialed in at DRF.com for the best coverage of Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Oaks 2023.
Put yourself in position to win big on Kentucky Derby Day with the power of daily racing form. Visit shop.drf.com and get past performances, expert picks, betting strategies, clock reports, and more. Again, that's shop.drf.com.